I'm here monthly. I give a different health talk every month for you lovely folks here at Ida Culver. And I've done lots of different things in the past. I've done talks about hearing, about memory, communication, all kinds of things, balance, those things. So if anyone has an idea for something they'd like to learn about health-wise for my next month's talk, please let me know. I'm more than happy to share anything with anybody. But to introduce myself, my name is Caroline. Some of you I recognize pretty well. Some of you I do not. I work here with Select Rehab. We are not part of Ida Culver, but we are in Ida Culver. Our office is over in D building on the first floor, and we offer physical therapy for any resident, as well as speech therapy, which is what I myself am. I am a speech pathologist. And because of my training in speech and language pathology, I have some good knowledge about the human voice. It's a topic that I am very passionate about. And it's also something that I work with people one-on-one with. And also something that I think is really important to our identity and our communication, because we have this one voice for our whole lives and we use it for so many things. So as I'm talking, feel free to ask any questions if you need some clarification. And certainly at the end, any specific questions you have, we can go over. Okay. Maybe, okay. Let's see here.
Oops, something's happening.
No, I'm trying to use the remote. I switched it with the computer.
Oh.
Okay, I guess no remote today. Okay, so today we will be exploring how your voice works, what changes with age, how to care for your voice, and then I will share some exercises that you can do to protect and keep your voice functioning well. I'm not going to go over every exercise that I know, because different exercises are better for some than others. So I've put two in this that are pretty universally good for everyone. Okay. Now, with how your voice works, I know that you are all smart people, and most of you are really well educated, so I really do like to go over the science of things at the beginning of my talks. So, I present to you the science of how the voice works. This is a larynx. Has anyone heard of a larynx before? Okay, great. That's like so many people. The larynx is that part in your neck that has this prominence here, which is your Adam's apple. These are muscles that help the larynx raise up and down for swallowing and for getting your voice pitch correct. And another fun fact is this is a bone that's only attached to muscle. It's called the hyoid. It's the only bone in your body that does not articulate with another bone.
Articulate.
Pretty cool, huh?
Huh.
Yep. The hyoid bone. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it raises up your larynx.
Raises up.
Yeah. Okay, so housed in this larynx, or some might call it a voice box, is your vocal cords. And I have a side view of them here. Your vocal cords are right about here behind your Adam's apple. There are two of them. And when you're at rest, when you're breathing, they are open. And when you start to speak, they close. Now I will explain this with the next picture. Okay, if you were to look at the vocal cords from above you, so if you're above looking down into your neck, this is exactly what your voice looks like. These two strings are responsible for all of the sound that your voice makes. And I can't even tell you how tiny and fragile they are. They look like tissue paper. They're very delicate and very, very amazing. So like I said, when you're speaking, they close. Does anyone know what happens when they close or how they work at all? They vibrate. Exactly, yeah. Precisely. So they vibrate against each other between 100 and 1,000 times per second, depending on the pitch that you are achieving. I'm so glad you guys think this is cool because I think it's very cool.
I want to know who counted that.
That's a great question. An otolaryngologist will use stroboscopy to look at the vocal cords, and it lets you put it in slow motion so you can see them going like this really slowly, but really it's like really, really fast. I brought my guitar today because I think that a musical instrument string is a really good representation of what our vocal cords are. They are literally musical strings. The difference between them and an instrument is that they vibrate together, as opposed to a guitar or a violin or a piano string vibrates by itself. Okay, does anyone have questions about how the voice works or the anatomy or anything like that? Sure. Let me grab you the microphone so everyone can hear you.
You remember how the singer, the woman who sang in Sound of Music, and she had surgery, and somehow the surgeon screwed up. I've always wondered, and she couldn't sing anymore. Do you remember that?
I don't remember, but I have a guess as to what happened.
But she never, and it was the surgeon's mistake.
Okay.
I think
That's so sad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's
Julie
why.
Andrews.
Yeah, Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
And she never was able to sing anymore. It wrecked her singing career, of course.
Wow.
So she made. I guess there was a large medical settlement.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
So I was wondering, what happened? You know, I've always wondered because it just.
It's a good question.
What would this?
I think I know, but let me look it up real quick just to make sure I'm correct.
Because she had a wonderful voice.
Absolutely.
Jan?
Yes.
I think that she still sings, but it's lower. Yeah, she still sings. Because I saw something about it on television the other night.
Oh, you did?
It's lower, and more gravelly sounding.
Gravelly. She did not start out with a gravelly voice before that surgery. My father had singer's notes, and that would be my other question.
Yeah. It doesn't say what the surgeon did wrong.
But see, that's
yeah.
Right.
But what happened to her was on the vocal cords, she got a tiny cyst. It could have been a nodule. It's not confirmed.
Okay.
Often people who are like singing a lot start to get kind of calluses on the voice, which are what nodules are. So she probably had a little callus that was affecting her ability to sing. They probably went in to remove it, probably nicked something and caused it to bleed, which really messes with your voice.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Back here? Thank you.
Oh, was I going to say something?
Are you raising your hand or no?
Well, I half and half did.
You make your choice.
Well, you're here, so.
Okay.
I had surgery because I had too many capillaries wherever they are. Somewhere here. Okay, I ended up coming out of that with no voice.
Wow.
So, oh bullshit! I want to say it was terrible because I had been musical and singing and stuff. Anyway, so I didn't have a voice. But you talk to the doctors and they'll say, well, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Which is not very much, but they would test this or do that or twist this or whatever they would do. You know, I would go in regularly for quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And and it didn't happen, everybody would say, hey, you had a tone, Marjorie, you got one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It pops out, you know, because it's a real sound, not just, it's an exhausting, mentally exhausting issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a long time, and I still don't sing, and I can't sing.
Yeah.
But I can sing inside my head I sing.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you had a legitimate vocal injury from the surgery.
Exactly.
Which sometimes those can be fixed surgically again.
I mean, they tried to fix it, but
Really?
it didn't work.
You could have, or probably still can, see a speech pathologist like myself, because we can do things to improve the function of the voice. So
and
they
sing beautiful.
They should have gotten you with a speech pathologist after that, because they can't just expect you to be fixed without learning how to do anything else.
They ended at Kaiser. I went there, and I went regularly because he kept trying to do whatever it was that he needed to do to fix it, and he tried hard. He said, I don't think I can do any more. So I could speak a little bit like I'm doing now, but I don't sing and I can't.
Okay.
I just pretend.
That's challenging. Yeah. Thank you.
So it does happen.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna keep moving, you guys. Whoops. Sorry. Okay, so that's how the voice works. And just like everything else changes as we age, the voice is not an exception. It changes in similar ways to the way the rest of the body changes. And in a kind of a person who's aging normally with their voice, those changes will be mild, and they'll look like weaker or breathier voices, raspiness and hoarseness. Sometimes our pitch gets higher or lower than it was when we were younger. And it can be less steady or easily strained, especially with prolonged talking or singing. So these are the most common symptoms of a voice when we're aging. It's a little weaker, a little less flexible, a little more easy to tire.
Can that be helped?
Um,
Or is it just the way it's going?
Can it be helped? It can. It can. It's not something that you're going to become 30 again, but you can improve the function of your voice and get better tone and better quality to your voice. But you're not gonna change the structure of it, because the reason these changes happen is because the structure of the voice changes, which I will show you next. So, just to go back real quick, here's your image of the vocal cords. They vibrate, right? The guitar strings going like this in a particular wave pattern to produce noise, which is what the vocal cords do. Those tiny white things. Okay, so here's why the voice changes with age. The vocal cords can become thinner. Over time, the vocal cords might lose some of their mass and become less pliable, which makes it harder for them to vibrate efficiently, which can cause the voice to sound weak or breathy. So if you think about that in terms of my guitar here, the strings on top are the thicker strings, and the strings on bottom are the thinner strings. When you have a thicker string, you get a nice kind of thick sound. If it thins out, you get a more kind of shrill sound. So if your voice has become higher, perhaps you have some thinning of your voice going on. What's that?
Mine's lower.
Yours is lower, okay. I'll explain that one next, actually. So just like the muscles in the body, the voice box muscles can weaken with age, affecting vocal endurance and control. So the way that the voice works is when we the muscles of the voice stretch the strings out. And make the tone change by stretching the strings. Just like if I were to turn my tuning peg, it would stretch the string and make the tone higher.
Our choir director has us do that.
So if that's a great point. So if the muscles around the strings are holding the strings less tight, if they're weaker, the vocal cord starts to get a little looser. This is a dramatic explanation. But if the vocal cord is looser, it's more buzzy, it's vibrating more slowly, and your pitch changes are more drastic sounding. Okay? Does that make sense with the guitar string analogy? So your voice is literally like a string, and it's affected by the body of the voice, the guitar body, and it's affected by the structure of the string itself. To your point with Julie Andrews having a vocal nodule, if you were to get a little nodule on your voice, that's basically like something is touching your voice to stop the string from vibrating as freely. So even though it's the same note, it's not vibrating as well as it should be. Okay? That's if you have like a actual pathology going on with your voice. Okay, and then our lung function changes as we get older. The air is the power behind the voice. It's how hard you pluck the string. So having less respiratory capacity can make your voice quieter and vibrate less efficiently too. And then medical changes and lifestyle factors. Acid reflux can cause changes to your voice. If your reflux is coming up into the throat, it can cause inflammation to the vocal cords. People with Parkinson's disease, thyroid issues, or who have had previous surgeries, people who've smoked for a long time, people who are dehydrated, or people who have overused their voice, like teachers, singers, actors, can accelerate aging in the voice. Hang on.
Oh, you can.
We want to hear you. I got hearing loss.
What you were just saying, well, if you know that it's happening, can you, when you know.
Yep, that's great. Go ahead.
When you know what's going on and you tell someone about it and you're asking for help and they can get you to move back in the same place again. I mean, can you do that? Or just, can you, like you have a flat tire, you tape it and then goes, I mean, you can still run.
Yeah, it depends on the person and what's going on and how old the tire is. I'm serious. If a younger person has the same vocal problem as an older person, it's a lot easier to repair. Where on an older tire, you can definitely improve the tire, but it's still gonna kind of maintain its normal baseline status. But I mean, yeah, you can definitely improve your voice at any age. Definitely.
When I still don't have one.
Any other questions, you guys?
Yes, I have one about,
Please.
we were talking about teachers.
Yeah.
I had chronic laryngitis every year.
Oh.
Does that do something to your voice? Because you have to keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah, it can cause damage over time. It's kind of like if you have a cut on your arm, like a small cut, and something keeps rubbing up against it, it's gonna heal less efficiently. So it can cause a little bit of damage. And yeah, you're supposed to take a vocal rest so that you're not rubbing up against it more. What?
It's pretty hard.
Exactly. Your voice sounds good though.
Well,
We can talk later if you want.
I would.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay, So when should you seek help? When should you maybe talk to a doctor or to a speech pathologist like myself? Well, you can talk to me anytime, regardless of if you have a genuine voice disorder going on, or if you're having difficulty with your voice because of general aging. I can still kind of point you in the right direction, but when should you really seek help? It says, while voice changes are expected with age, others may signal an underlying concern. You should consider speaking with a speech language pathologist if your vocal hoarseness is persistent, if it's kind of constant, or if it's every day. If you're developing fatigue throughout the day, like it's harder to speak at night because your voice is getting tired.
Oh, really?
If you're having a hard time being heard in noisy environments, and I don't mean because you're sitting across from someone who has a significant hearing loss. I mean if everyone else is being heard and your voice isn't carrying over, then you might want to seek some help for it. If you have a noticeable kind of abrupt change in your pitch or your vocal strength, definitely talk to someone. If you're having shortness of breath while speaking, can be a sign of a couple things. If you have a vocal tremor, like your voice is vibrating, or you sound like RFK Jr., talk to a speech therapist. Especially and lastly, if you're having any pain or discomfort while you're using your voice, please come talk to me. I would love to help you with that. And if any of this speaks to you, an evaluation by a speech therapist can determine if your voice changes are normal with aging, or if there may be something like clinical, that like a vocal nodule that we could work on and fix. That being said, I will tell you, if you do come to me, I'll probably recommend that you also see an ENT so I know what's really going on. But still, please come talk to me. Any thoughts on seeking help for your voice? Anyone want to speak on that or have any questions? You can also ask me questions after.
Can you demonstrate the vocal tremor?
You want me to demonstrate the vocal tremor?
Yeah, what does it sound like?
A vocal tremor would sound like this.
Got it.
Or it would sound like this. Yeah. Thank you. It's the shakiness of the voice. So if you were to do a sustained ah, instead of ah, it would be ah, something like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
My brother had a stroke a number of years ago. He didn't know he had had the stroke. It only, because he went off to work, he opens his mouth to talk to a student that had come to him for some background stuff, and nothing came out, no words. And it was totally in one part of his brain,
Yeah.
and he had to have extensive speech therapy.
Sure, absolutely.
Because this had nothing to do with his vocal cords,
Yeah.
but it had everything to do with his brain injury, which was only in that one part of the brain. Only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between the voice and communication and the brain and communication, definitely. Okay, moving on. Now, the big question remains, what can you do? Okay. And your voice matters. Don't forget it. So does mine. Everybody's does. Okay. Here are some general principles of vocal health. And they kind of sound a lot like everything you know that you already should be doing for your body. However, I'm going to explain to you specifically why they impact your voice. First and foremost, hydration is a really big deal for the health of your voice. And that is because your vocal cords are coated in a really thin layer of mucus that it's like a lubricant, like an oil that allows them to vibrate freely. When our bodies are hydrated, they really easily produce that mucus. Now, it's not like a mucus that you're going to notice or be coughing up. It's really just a minimal coating, but it allows the voice to move efficiently. So when you're dehydrated, if you don't have that mucosal coating on your vocal cords, what's happening is your vocal cords are going to get more worn down because they're not being lubricated. So hydration. If you're going to start anywhere, if you're not drinking 6 to 8 ounces of water, juice, herbal tea a day, start there and see how much that improves your voice.
That's only a 6.
Oh, I meant 6 to 8 cups.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm glad you noticed that. Can you imagine I told you guys to like dramatically decrease your water intake? Like she said, 6 ounces is fine. No, 6 to 8 cups. Definitely. Thank you for catching that. Unless you're advised by a doctor to drink less, some people have certain health precautions where they're not supposed to drink that much, so you'll know if you're one of those people. And if you didn't know, alcohol and caffeine are diuretics. They dehydrate the body. So if you are drinking 4 cups of coffee in the morning and no water, you are running on dehydration. If you drink 4 cups of coffee and 4 cups of water, you're somewhere near a net neutral. So try to balance your caffeine intake with non-caffeinated beverages. Another good one is having a humidifier in your room at night to put moisture into the air. You're breathing in more moisture, and it's creating a healthy environment for your voice to be in. It's really good for your voice. A lot of singers do this. If you've ever known like a professional singer, they're like, I can't live without my humidifier. I stick my face in it every day and have it running in my room, or I can't sing my operas perfectly. Yeah. So water, potentially a humidifier are great ideas. Exercise. Getting physical activity improves our breathing. And like I said, the breath is the power for your voice. It's what is going to pluck the metaphorical guitar string of your voice. So if you're noticing you're having a problem with the intensity of your voice, bringing more breath into it is a good idea. And then of course sleep, because physical fatigue makes us use our voice in tired ways where we're not talking as efficiently, and not good for the voice. If you have GERD, it's a challenge, I know, but if you feel your acid reflux coming up and you're noticing more hoarseness in your voice, that hoarseness very well could be from acid reflux, and you can seek treatment. Okay. And something she was saying that she had laryngitis as a teacher, and she kept talking with it. I think you got away unscathed. So, no, you didn't? Okay.
I can't sing anymore.
Okay. Understood. But if you are feeling pain or injury or tiredness in your voice, you want to do things that prevent it from that continuing to happen. So the principle is avoid repeated stress to your voice. Throat clearing. Many of us clear our throats subconsciously throughout the day, and we might not notice it. But what actually happens when you're clearing your throat is your vocal cords are slamming together. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but if you're a chronic throat clearer, you're giving your voice some extra pressure, and doing it all day is going to kind of have your voice be continuously inflamed. Okay. Whispering and shouting. I think shouting's an obvious one. If you shout, you could lose your voice. But strangely enough, whispering is not good for our voices either. Yeah, whispering is actually kind of a damaging thing for our voice. And that's because when we whisper, the air coming up from the lungs is pushing the vocal cords inconsistently and making them have like kind of a more funky vibrational wave, which just kind of messes with them and can cause vocal damage.
Wow.
If your voice is hoarse or tired, avoid singing or speaking. We talked about this a little bit before. Using a couple hours of vocal rest each day, if you're going through a period of time where your voice is more hoarse, allows the inflammation to come back down, and then you're not causing as much repeated stress to the voice because you're resting it. So don't underestimate the power of like having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, even at night, where you're just not using your voice at all. It's a good kind of like sleep for your voice. Warming up your voice before making big demands on it. I've heard a lot of people say that when they wake up in the morning, their voice is as difficult as it will be all day. And I'll go over a bit of a technique to warm up your voice in a little bit. And I'm sure some of you already have voice warming up techniques because you may be in choir or you may have some singing knowledge. And if your voice is tired, try not to speak in a loud environment where you're having to raise your voice to be heard. Any thoughts or questions on this one? No? Okay. Okay.
I guess I do have a question before you move on.
Please. Thank you, Jim.
What are the effects of sinus conditions and all that on your voice, and what should you be aware of?
That's a great question. So, sinus conditions or allergies or the common cold, all those kinds of things. If we get mucus kind of stuck in our sinuses or we're having postnasal drip, that mucus is falling onto your vocal cords and making them have to vibrate with more mucus on them, which is irritating to them, as well as if you're having some sort of inflammatory response in the body, like a sinus infection or just a cold or even generalized sinus pressure, it can just cause inflammation everywhere in general. So it's really the mucus that's coming down, that's like falling onto your voice, making it gunky, and then that alone is causing inflammation. And then when you try to speak with that, furthers the inflammation. So that's why we can lose our voice.
Is there any harm with using nasal sprays?
Not really, no. Especially a saline spray can actually be really, really good for that. I'll be with you.
Saline?
What's that?
You just said
Saline, yeah. Well, you don't like saline?
Yeah, I know, but you're giving it to me.
The saline spray? I don't know. There's a use for everything. And then for people who have chronic sinus conditions or chronic cold, some of those medications that you'll take for that, like Mucinex, any kind of decongestant, it's that thins out your mucus, can be helpful, but if you do it too much, it can be counterintuitive. Because you want it to dry you out if you're sick, but you don't want it to dry you out too much. So if you're sick or have sinus issues, a humidifier is probably a really good idea to naturally thin whatever's stuck in you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Great question. Thank you. Anyone next? Okay. Don't underestimate the power of resting your voice and hydrating. And here are my tips as a speech-language pathologist. These are the two, in my opinion, best vocal exercises you can do to help your voice vibrate efficiently and safely and easily. Yes, I will absolutely demonstrate. The first one we're going to call breathe and hum. And it's as simple as it sounds. You're taking a deep breath, and then you're just gently turning your voice on. So like it says, take a deep breath, let it out gently and slowly as you hum. So that would be like this. Wow, you guys sound great. Yep. And focus on your air just leaving your body easily. And finding whatever pitch is comfortable for your voice. So this is a great vocal warm-up to do in the morning or at night to get your voice going, because all you're doing is you're breathing efficiently and you're letting your vocal cords vibrate, which is the simplest thing, but it's how the voice functions and in a very pure way. So it helps free your voice of speech and changing pitches. It just lets the voice do what the voice does, which is really good for it. It's also a good strategy. It's also really good to do if you're laying on your back. If you know anything about diaphragmatic breathing, they say that's the best type of breathing for your voice. And the best way to do it is by laying on your back. Put your hands on your stomach while you're on your back. Breathe in through your belly, because you'll pretty much naturally do a diaphragmatic breath while you're laying down. And as you want to feel your hands slowly come down so that the air is releasing in an even way. So try that one. And then straw blowing. This is a really good one, you guys. This is like a secret hidden tip that singers know, that speech pathologists know. It seems really simple, but it's a really wonderful thing for your voice. This is called straw breathing. I'm calling it straw blowing because I want to make sure that no one breathes in water. It's essentially you just blow into a straw, you turn your voice on while you're blowing, and you blow bubbles and try to keep them even, and that's it. And I'll demonstrate for you. So you just start blowing, and then you turn your voice on. It seems really silly, but the reason it's good is because when you create this chamber of pressure from your voice to your mouth to the straw to the water, it really equalizes the pressure in your voice and helps your vocal cords come together in the best way that they can. So the more you spend time, the more your voice is learning to vibrate the way it's supposed to. And there's also some evidence that doing this, if you're like Julie Andrews and have a vocal nodule, this is often prescribed for those type of people because it can actually smooth away the vocal nodule in time. It's really a great thing to do. So if you were to do it 5 or 10 minutes a day, focus on how your voice feels nice and gentle as you're doing it, and it's a really good thing to do.
Can we sing like Julie Andrews after we do that?
Yeah, we can sing Julie Andrews after we do it.
Can sing like
Just a cup full of water helps your voice sound really good. Thank you. Yep. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions about these 2 vocal exercises? Oh, we got a question.
Yes, what about gargling?
Gargling.
Oh,
Huh.
good question.
I never thought about that. I guess it would be a very similar effect as the straw breathing. I really don't know. I can't even hypothesize. I don't know. It's a good question though, because it sounds similar. Yeah, good question. You might be onto something. Maybe I can make money off of that.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I
Doris.
had a major voice change. I can hear my voice is so
Yeah.
different. And at night, I mean, I have to almost scream to be heard.
Wow. Okay.
Anything for that?
Yeah. I think that you might want to see me, and we might want to do an evaluation, because that's for you to have almost no voice at night. That's something's probably going on with you, especially with a major change. Okay. Absolutely. Hi. Hi there.
How do you lessen clearing your throat?
What's causing you to clear your throat?
Well, I feel like I have something there.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I ask?
Exactly. Actually, this first exercise, the breathe and hum, if instead of clearing your throat, try to do it, but just less aggressively, more like a hum. Because it's still bringing your vocal cords together to get the mucus off of them, but it's not slamming them. Something else that people do, humming is great. Humming at different pitches is gonna do that. And then some people will say, sing a note and switch pitches, like because it's making the vocal cords kind of shake all the mucus away to go up and down in pitch like that. If you are having like a sinus condition or allergies, that might be why. Do you still have something to say?
No, I'm just handing that back.
Yeah, that's a really good question, by the way. Also, staying hydrated and trying to swallow instead of clearing your throat. Or if you're in public, you can try just a gentler voice clear. So instead of try like, okay? The less hard you do it, the better. Anyone else? These vocal exercises. Is anyone gonna try straw blowing? Cool, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really, really good one to do. If you are just having a kind of a normal, typical aging voice where your vocal cords are just getting looser and you're having a little more weakness, that straw blowing is going to be really good for you. If you have any sort of pain while you're doing either of those, stop. Especially the straw breathing, because if you're having pain, it might be a sign that there's something more going on than just your typical aging process. Okay? Yeah. Straw blowing and just breathe. Hum. And believe it or not, that's it. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I wanted to leave time for questions because I think everyone has a different experience with their voice, and I want to be able to let you guys share anything you might want to share, because this is pretty generalized information, and we got one already.
So I was just reading the Reader's Digest,
Okay.
and they said that you cannot hum and hold your nose.
That's not true. I guess it's minimally true. I thought I could. Yeah, you're right. The air needs somewhere to go, huh? Yeah, you're right.
Well, I just read it and I tried it, and they also had a little thing. We know you're going to try this now.
Yeah, right.
And I did, and I thought, oh my gosh.
That's funny. That's funny. Hello. Hi there. Hold on.
Is vocal
vocal fry bad for the voice?
Yes.
And is it a sign of pathology?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
What was the question?
He said, is vocal fry bad for the voice? I will explain. And is it a sign of an underlying pathology? Vocal fry, you can think of it as like the way a suburban California girl might talk. Like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Their voice is kind of popping down here while they're talking. Yeah. Number one, it is not great for your voice. It does the same thing that whispering does, in that it's creating an uneven pattern of vibration in your voice, which can be damaging. However, vocal fry is a very common habitual way that people with no voice disorder speak. It's kind of ingrained into our culture, where when we go down in pitch at the end of a sentence, we might go into vocal fry. I know I do it. And yeah, just like that. Yeah. And it can have a range of reasons for it existing. So it might be as simple as that's how this person talks because that's how the people around them talk. It could be as simple as the person is tired or they're not using proper breath support while they're speaking. And if it's consistent, where there's really not much speech without the vocal fry, it's probably a pathology. Like there's probably, did you hear I just did it? It's probably a pathology. Yeah. If it's like you're talking like this all the time, you probably have a nodule or something going on with your voice. So maybe some swelling or some weakness or something like that. That's a really good question. Can I ask, where have you heard about vocal fry?
I've studied singing for a long time.
Oh, there you go.
Also, I've watched some YouTube videos about vocal fry and various styles of speech delivery.
Uh-huh. So what did you learn about?
How it could be a habit.
It's a habit, yeah, it's a very habitual thing. Is that so? That's what I said was similar to what you learned as well? Okay. Absolutely. Great question. Satchmo? Does Satchmo talk like that?
All the time.
I'm unfamiliar with Satchmo.
Louis Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So actually, I don't think Louis Armstrong was a true vocal fry. It's a little different. He's, do you want an explanation? Okay. But yeah, he's got that craggly raspiness to his voice, Louis Armstrong. Huh?
More of a growl.
More of a growl. He's using his false vocal folds to create more tension. Yeah. Hi there.
What is a falsetto voice?
Ah, that's a really good question. It's kind of an not well-defined term. Typically, falsetto refers to a feature of the male vocal register. Technically, no. Technically, no. Women do not have falsetto.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, falsetto. In singing, there are a couple different placements of the voice. There's the chest voice where you're down here and it's vibrating in your chest. There's a mixed voice where it's kind of in your throat and in the front of your face. And then there's the higher register, which is going to resonate through here. Now, in men, they call that higher register falsetto because I believe it's because it's more of a dramatic flip when a man goes from up there. It's more of a flip and kind of a different way that they're singing, a register flip, where in a woman it's a more integrated. So yeah, it's typically only considered of the male voice, but it refers to the higher, more airy, wispy notes.
What do your vocal cords do at that time?
I don't know.
What was your question?
What do the vocal folds do at that time? I don't know. It's actually, well, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Your vocal cords don't really do anything different. So the strings of the guitar are vibrating the same, but when you go into a higher register, the body and the shape of the guitar change. So when a man goes into falsetto, their mouth might open wider, their soft palate might come up a little bit, their throat might expand a little bit to have the sound vibrate at a different angle through the vocal register to shift where it's being made.
So a woman, when she does the high notes, it's more of a gradual thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I can sing the same note and place it completely differently. Like, and it's all the same note, it just changes the shape that it's in. That's how the falsetto works. Yeah.
Why do men and women have different registers?
Okay. Why do men and women have different vocal registers? A male's vocal cords are thicker, so they vibrate more slowly, and a slow vibration creates a deeper sound. Simple as that. Yeah. And you also have more space in your throat and in your bony cavities of your head, which gives the sound a bigger guitar body to vibrate within.
Can you sing something for me?
Oh man. Okay, I can sing something for you at the end. Yeah, I will. Someone back here was raising their hand. I know it. Was it you?
Yeah. I've read that falsetto is a distinct register because approximately half of the vocal folds are held still while the other half vibrates.
Ooh.
Feels different.
And,
Does it?
And some professional falsettists cultivate that style of singing.
Countertenor.
Yes.
Right?
Countertenor.
Uh-huh. I did not know that. That makes sense, actually. That's why they say it's easier for a baritone to sing countertenor,
Yeah.
because their vocal cords are thicker. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Oh yeah.
And we'll cover the other
Two
one.
voice guys in the back.
Well, the other thing that men do, some women can do it approximately, is yodel.
Uh-huh.
And it's that same thing of going into that higher register, and you can cultivate it. Let's see if I can do it. La.
Yeah.
And you can hear that.
You got it.
You can hear that click
Yep.
as your vocal cords change their vibration pattern.
Oh, wow.
Now, a woman can come close to that, but she's mimicking the sound rather
Really?
than the physiology of it.
Oh my gosh.
So you don't see many female yodelers.
Wow. That's amazing. I thought that yodeling was all about the placement, but it's about the vibration.
It's in your throat.
What? That's crazy. Man, you guys gotta give the next voice talk. Anybody else have questions? Yeah. And if anyone thinks that they have, what's up? Yeah.
What's up is this.
Hey.
I've always been told that I'm very soft spoken. And how do you change from soft speaking, which is normal for me, and be without forcing myself to say, oh, well, this is my outdoor voice.
Yeah. I mean,
not
really?
my indoor voice.
Really,
and
you
then a follow-up to the lady over here with the teaching. Every year when I went back to the classroom, my voice was so tired at the end of the day. I hadn't been using it for the same thing all summer, and now I'm back in the classroom. but then in about 3, 4, or 5 weeks, I'm back to normal.
Yeah, so
How do you not be soft-spoken? Because in louder areas, it's harder for people to hear me. And sometimes they'll say they can't, and then I think, oh, well, turn the hearing aid up.
Yeah.
Put it in. And then, because I wear hearing aids, I can hear everybody.
So, yeah.
But I don't see myself as speaking softer.
Yeah.
But I've talked to you a lot. So
Yeah.
maybe we can.
Everyone has a different size to their voice. The voice is an instrument,
Well,
right?
probably the only
So
thing.
it comes in all different shapes and sizes. So to a certain extent, I would encourage you to not try to force your voice out. When we force our voices, we tend to get more tension here, and that could be damaging.
Oh, that's not good.
However, instead of forcing your voice, if you increase your breath support and you open your mouth wider when you're talking, a little more exaggerated, your voice will naturally enhance itself.
Well, we can try that.
So you can try that, but don't force your voice to be louder.
No, I just, when they say, what did you say? I just say it over.
Yeah, and it's okay to repeat things. Yeah, your voice is the way it is, so that's fine. Yeah, but breath support and opening your mouth wider.
This young lady and I grew up about 20 miles.
We did. Her and I are both from northeastern Pennsylvania.
You can relax, because if I can hear you,
She's delightful.
way down here at the end, your voice is very clear to me,
You got,
and I'm hard of hearing.
maybe you have good hearing.
She's hard of hearing, she says.
I also find that sometimes when I'm trying to speak louder and for others' comfort, I find a vibration down among all these folds in my upper tummy, which is where your lungs are.
Yeah, posture can help. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Kramer.
Just a little bit of side information. My wife retired as an elementary school music teacher, and she convinced the school to give her a portable microphone. And it was like yours, except it didn't have any cord or anything. So she could walk around, she could do things with the students.
Yeah.
But it didn't damage her voice, and she felt so much better after the end of the day.
I'm so glad you said that, because I forgot to answer your second question about the teaching. That's what I was going to say too. You probably were pushing your voice a lot for the classroom, when you might have a bit of a smaller voice. And nowadays, when there are teachers like that, it's great to get like an amplification system of some sort.
You're trying to fill the room.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's awesome. I'm glad she did that.
When I got into counseling, it was more one-on-one, that was easier. And then into administration, where it was big groups, and that was easier. It was just that room was half the size of this, and 30-some kids sitting there.
Yeah.
High school children.
Yeah. So if anyone has any specific concerns about their own voice, please come talk to me, because we can do an assessment and figure out if there's something going on that we should work together with, or if maybe we just meet one time and I give you a couple specific tips.
What is your name again?
My name is Caroline, and they have select Rehab's business cards at the desk. So if you want to give me a call, go for it. Yeah. Or come to me after the meeting. Doris requested that I sing. Do you guys want me to, for real? Okay.